I don't know what else to tell you other than Dody and Dody, Johnny, and we would see the schools out in Abington let out a lot later than the ones in Illinois. The ones where I come from, I mean, we were out like the first, well, it was, no, I think we were out probably, we only went to school about 3 weeks in May. We were out early. Well, by the time I got out to Philadelphia, they had about 3 more weeks of school. They didn't get out till about the middle of June. So then usually I made a trip to the shore with Aunt Fern, and we would open up the shore home, which was a lot of fun. You got to take all the blankets off of the furniture, and oh gosh, the furniture was lovely, and I was absolutely mystified. She had this beautiful cabinet, and I thought, oh, there's a television in there. And I opened it up, and it swung back. It was all mirrored, and this was a bar. It had all kinds of liquor and glasses that you serve people. I was amazed. It was just, you know, here you had a portable bar. But anyway, I would help Aunt Fern get the summer home ready. And at that time, it's where I learned to crab. We had the butler with us, James, and James liked to get up early, and I always got up early on the farm, so I got up early, and James would take a net, and he'd say, "Now come with me," and you had to go early to catch the crabs, and usually you did it alongside of the dock, and our home was called Bayhead, and we were on a square. The house sat here, so we had a dock in the front of the house and on the side of the house here, and we could catch crabs and lobster, you know, whatever. And I did learn to crab there, and I guess that's where I learned to really get my knowledge of seafood, and I like fish so very well. Well, anyway, then I alongside here, Uncle John had a sailboat, and it was a Lightning. Now this is a brand of sailboats called the Lightning, and Dody and Johnny and I, we did sail, and Dody was much better at this than John and I. We weren't never that good, but what you learn to go from one side of the sailboat to the other. It's called turnabouts. How many turnabouts can you make it into? You're out in the bay, and you learn to turn this boat around to sails. You turn, well, you come about. You come about. When you come about, you go from one side to the other. And I learned that, and we did that a lot. And then the yacht was here. And this yacht was, of course, it was wartime. And at this particular time, it was off limits to take this yacht out of the bay area, because we were on the bay, and you went outside the bay, you were in the Atlantic Ocean. We were at war. And there were submarines that did get pretty close. So anyway, we could not take the yacht out into the Atlantic Ocean. Well, Dody had a couple of friends over. See, Dody was 3 years older than I, John was 3 years younger. That was the way it was. Well, you know, I was like 16. Dody was pretty close to 19. Well, there's a 16-year-old to a 19-year-old is a pretty big jump. And the 19-year-old thinks she knows everything there is to know about life. So anyway, Dody said, we'll take John and Lou along in case we get into trouble. We were their protection. So anyway, we got to go along, and a couple of her friends went, and they decided to take the boat out. Well, James told them that, Missy, you should not take this boat out. Well, she didn't pay no attention to James. She knew how to drive her, and she got in, started it up, and we all jumped in, and out we went. We took it right out to the bay, and we headed for the Atlantic Ocean. Here we are. We're heading.
No, this had a motor or engine in it.
Oh yes, it was a yacht. It was big. I mean, it was. It had a galley. It had sleeping quarters. It had a place that you could cook anything you wanted, and then it had like a balcony around that you could sit out there and sun yourself. This was no little job. It was big. Well, here we are out in the middle of the bay at Bayhead, and we're heading for the Atlantic Ocean, and all at once, all these sounds. We had a boat on one side of us, we had a PT boat on the other side of us, we had one in the back of us, and pretty soon we had one in the front of us. And of course, they all, I was scared to death. And of course, they asked permission to come aboard. And there was a telephone on board this yacht. And it was red, and it was all taped. It was all taped down, not to use. Well, they untaped the thing, and they got hold of, whoever it was they got hold of. And, of course, they asked the owner of the boat, and Dody said, John Valentine. Well, of course, that rang a bell for everyone. And so they asked where they could get in touch with him. Well, he was at the Bayhead Country Club, the yacht club. So here he is at the yacht club, at this big to-do. And they were eating outside. It was a big to-do, and they were all wondering, well, who are the boats bringing in this yacht? And the closer they got, Uncle John said, that looks a lot like our boat. And, and pretty soon it got to the point where he knew it was his boat. Well, anyway, then they proceeded to come up on the dock at the yacht club and asked for John Valentine, and of course he assured him it was his children, and that this was not a spy or it was just something that his children had decided. Man alive, did we get punished for that one. We were grounded. We were grounded. We couldn't do anything. We couldn't go out and buy these famous sandwiches that we liked at this one place. No famous sandwiches. We could go and we could swim, but that was it, and we were grounded a long time. But anyway, that was the experience of the boats taking us in.